Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
More on the energy sector. The Renewable Energy Investment Conference organized by GNERC and Energy Regulators Regional Association was held in Tbilisi. During the conference, the regulators, the representatives of the business sector and governmental agencies discussed the Georgian energy sector and looked for potential synergies. Our reporter, Georgy Aronia, was in attendance. He will tell us more about the conference.
The energy sector is of crucial importance to Georgia. There are too many reasons to count why, but most important are energy security and the vast potential that our country undoubtedly has. Last week, yet another crucial event, the Renewable Energy Investment Conference, was held in Tbilisi, for which representatives of European energy regulators, business sector and governmental agencies assembled to discuss the Georgian investment climate, energy policy and the opportunities that exist in the country.
The Georgian energy system is in a very, very excellent way. So they are already very close to the European systems, and they are implementing a lot of different kinds of projects to get in line with the European legal requirements. And especially when we talk about market opening, implementation of renewables, implementation of energy efficiency issues, the Georgian energy policy is in a very, very excellent track, and they are doing a lot and implementing a lot in order to improve the system, to increase the renewables and to increase energy efficiency.
Georgia is starting or is already in the process of implementing, of transposing the European rules. They have opened the market and they are increasing the openness of market step by step. The Vice Minister was saying that for next year it is planned to open the day-ahead market, so that step by step the Georgian market completes the set of rules it applies and therefore moves closer to the European Union, so that it will be able to be there on an equal footing by applying the same rules. And that is also fostered with the energy community, of which Georgia is already part. So this is kind of a bridge, I would say, supporting also the accession then to the specific EU rules.
Among the topics I discussed with the experts was the difference between various financing mechanisms for energy projects that exist in Georgia. A few years back, the PPA mechanism was in place in Georgia. In 2017, upon the publication of the Fiscal Transparency Evaluation Report by the International Monetary Fund, the execution of the PPA mechanism was put on hold. As a contrary action, the government of Georgia introduced the so-called feed-in premiums, which were never implemented. In the near past, the government of Georgia has been actively promoting the so-called CFD mechanism, which is widely used in several EU countries. Given that the details of the Georgian CFD mechanism are still unknown, I asked foreign experts to share their experience.
The difference of the CFD compared to the feed-in tariff system, that it is much more market-based, so it can follow the drop of the technology and the more efficient technologies. So at the same time, it can capture the dynamic nature of the changes, and also it can give a stable framework for the investors and the customers. So we have good experience with that in the EU and also in Hungary, and we think it's a good step, and it can also economize public funds for Georgia public funds, and it's also a good tool in the hand of the regulatory authority to manage the energy transition and the stepping towards the cleaner energy system in Georgia.
If you invest in renewables or you want to increase the renewables, two issues are very important. The first issue is that you have a solid, reliable system, a solid and reliable legislation, that you can rely on the country that your investment is safe. And the other point, of course, is those who invest, they expect a return on their investment, of course. So the approach is to have a more market-based system, so that public subsidies, investments are allocated on market-based approaches.
There's no European CFD model yet, but for example in Italy it works, and this means that in renewables projects are subsidized or supported by a specific price premium or a price decrease depending on the market price.
While talking about energy, it is impossible not to mention the energy crisis that is taking Europe by storm. As experts claim, the energy crisis will persist for yet another 5 to 6 years. While it is one of the greatest challenges Europe has ever seen, it is an opportunity as well. According to experts I talked to, it is the perfect time to develop the renewable energy industry.
The current energy crisis, it hits the EU the hardest right now, and the root cause of the current crisis is a lack of gas, natural gas. I see that in Georgia this is not such a big problem because not so reliant on Russian energy sources, which is a very good starting position to overcome in these difficulties. But if we look at the globally the energy landscape, then I would expect that the current situation lasts for like 5 to 6 years, while the global gas market, also from the source side and also from the infrastructure side, can keep up and rebalance the current missing volumes from the global gas market.
This war in Ukraine and the impact on the whole energy system, and as you said, some countries are more affected, some countries are less affected, but nevertheless all countries are somehow involved in the whole thing. So therefore, yes, also for Georgia this is, I think, a chance to develop the market, and also it is a boost for the renewables, because all countries in the world now, they are facing the crisis and they realize how important it is to produce the energy on your own, to reduce imports, to increase the domestic production of energy. So it is a boost for the renewables, and it is also a boost and a momentum for energy efficiency. Also, and especially for Georgia, this is a great opportunity to use this momentum and to boost these reforms they all have already introduced, and to boost the energy policies towards a more sustainable energy system.
Let me repeat myself. The energy sector is of crucial importance to Georgia, so let's hope that it will truly be a bridge that ties Georgia and the European Union on a lifelong journey towards unity.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.